What the fuck is up, y'all? What it do? Welcome back to Get Tactical. I'm your host, DZ. Thank you for tuning in and watching. So in today's video, I'll be breaking down why gun control is a concept that won't serve society, okay? First of all, make sure you like the video, share it, and if you haven't already, then subscribe. All right. So I'm just going to jump right into this by saying I think the whole idea of gun control is stupid. In my opinion, it does nothing to stop someone with bad intentions to do harm. I'm also willing to argue that any form of gun control will make things worse on law-abiding citizens like you and me. Let me give you an example real quick, right? Since the reduction of police force in LA County, there's been a huge spike in crime, right? Rape, armed robbery, smash and grabs, breaking and entering. That's just to name a few. I mentioned this in my video titled Criminals Are Winning. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. Okay, in that video, I spoke on how the police chief sent out a warning to potential tourists, right? He said, and I quote, if you plan on visiting LA County, we cannot guarantee your safety, end quote. Now this is because of the increased crime, and that is due to the 20% reduction of the police force, okay? Now mind you that California has arguably the most strict laws in the country when it comes to guns, right? It's top 5, hands down, no argument, no discussion, right? But yet we can see these laws that are put into place aren't doing a damn thing to stop criminals, all right? I've also seen a video where a couple is eating at a restaurant and they're getting robbed in broad daylight, right? Also, to add on to that, the gunman had a 30-round extended magazine, which are illegal in the state of California, right? So tell me exactly how more gun control is the solution. It makes zero sense, right? If I go like this, that's 3, but no, it makes 0 sense. The criminals aren't following the law, but the average person who wants to protect themselves, they have to jump through hoops to do so. By using simple logic, I'm sure we all can agree, guns themselves are not bad, right? Let me also say, guns don't kill people. Let me say it again. Guns don't kill people. I've heard this so many times in the past week, in the past month, even years. People have been saying this, guns kill people, guns are bad, guns don't kill people. Somebody please, in the comments below, name me how many guns are in jail right now for a murder that they committed. I'll be waiting for somebody to answer that one. Guns don't kill people. It's the individual that does it, okay? So to place blame on assault weapons, extended high-capacity magazines, or even handguns, it's pointless. That would be like me blaming a woman for how she chooses to dress being the reason why she got raped. Every adult individual is responsible for their own actions, okay? Now, the flip side of this, okay? This is why I've also said, not everyone needs a gun. There are some sick-minded individuals out there with evil intentions, okay? Even with that being said, though, I still don't think guns are the problem, It's the individual. I've seen a video where a guy walks into the doctor's office. It's in Florida, right? Some of you may have seen it. I've sent it to some of my friends. But this guy, he walks into the doctor's office, right, with a machete in his hand. And he starts hacking people to pieces like it's a Friday the 13th movie. Jason Voorhees around this motherfucker, man. I don't believe that lady survived her injuries. I mean, because, man, he split her whole shit. Had her leaning to the side and everything. It was graphic. It was really graphic. But the guy who worked in the office, he managed to put up a good fight to make the person leave. Um, and that's crazy, man. The machete guy, um, he was definitely crazy for doing some stuff like that. But he didn't have a gun. He had a machete, right? Are politicians going to take away knives and machetes? There's no background checks on knives and machetes and things of that nature. For all we know, he could have bought the machete that day. This is why I believe people need to be armed to protect themselves against that kind of evil. In my opinion, people need to be educated on how to safely operate a firearm. That way, if one of these psychopaths decides to go on one of their, rampages, there won't be that many casualties. Now, as we have seen for many years, these mass shootings continue to occur, sadly, and unfortunately, I personally don't see them ending anytime soon. That's only because if someone has evil intentions to do harm, there's no stopping that. There's no controlling that. You just have to be ready to respond to it. And there have been people that have responded to mass shootings, good guys with guns. That's what I call them. That's what a couple other people call them. That's what they are. Good guys with guns. And when they were there, they were able to respond immediately to an active shooter and stop the threat just like that, so that way, they don't end up taking a bunch of lives, But when a mass shooting takes place, politicians, and the news, they immediately thinking about taking guns away as if they are the problem, as if guns are the problem, when in reality, an armed society is 10 times more safe than an unarmed society. One example, right? There was a church shooting 2 years ago. Some of you may remember, some of you may not remember this, but a guy opens fire, during a live church session on Sunday. He managed to kill one person, injuring another person, but immediately he was stopped by armed members of the church. They drew on him, shot him, and thank God that those good guys were there, because that church was packed with people. There ain't no telling if those guys weren't there that day, or if they didn't have their guns, there ain't no telling how many innocent lives would have potentially, or how many people would have potentially lost their lives that day. Or if they had to wait until the police responded, that could have been a massacre, a huge massacre. That church was packed with people, right? Good guys with guns, Another one, Stephen Williford. He calls himself the Barefoot Defender. Back in 2017, he helped stop a mass shooter in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Now, I personally got the chance to meet him, and that day when I met him, he told me, well, he told us a story of, how he stopped that, or how he helped stop the mass shooter. And I'm telling you, man, that story, it was intense to say the least. It gave me goosebumps, man. He's another example of a good guy with a gun. But I bet most of you haven't even heard that name before, Stephen Williford, right? Most of you haven't heard that name until now. But I bet you, if I mention, a name like, Nicholas Cruz or Dylan Roof, that name might ring a bell. And those are the names of the shooters in previous mass shootings. You guys got to ask yourself, why? Why aren't guys like Stephen Williford broadcasted all over TV, right? Why are you just hearing about his name right now? The media is quick to show you, mass shootings, but they're not quick to show you good guys with guns protecting themselves and saving people's lives. So ultimately, I feel as though the only way around these mass shootings is to be prepared for them. Okay? People need to be armed. A society of people armed, trained, and ready to respond to violence is less likely to have mass casualties from a person who decides to commit these crimes. Okay? So if you're someone looking for an answer to these mass shootings, the answer isn't gun control. The answer is be vigilant as you go along your daily routine. If you're in a state where you can get a firearm and you are legally able to purchase one, I suggest you do so. Okay. Also, invest in some training. Okay. Now, you don't need to go, full Navy SEAL, special operations, sharpshooter type shit. No, you don't need to do all that. But you do need to know how to safely operate your weapon, load the magazine up, and place shots on target. Okay. Then, if you want to go further, by all means do so. It's actually pretty fun, and it gets a little addicting, right? When you start seeing your progress with your firearms and your training, it's actually pretty fun, you know. Also, most importantly, stay strapped at all times, right? That's the motto around here anyway. So if there's anyone out there that's interested in some good quality firearm training, shoot me an email. Pun intended. But no, for real. Email will be in the description below. I can get you the training that you need. So guys, here are my thoughts and opinions on this whole gun control topic. Stay tuned as I will be doing a follow-up video on this topic. Remember guys, there's a lot of people out there in this world with evil intentions, okay? If that day comes up where you're caught up in the mix of their chaos, be prepared to protect yourself, okay? So stay strapped or get clapped. I'm out. See me on the next one.